Big bold text appears and reads, Sightless Living. Copyright symbol 2021-2024. Sightless Living. All rights reserved. Then disappears.
Hi, welcome to the channel. This is Sightless Living. My name's Anita. I just came back from the mailbox. I got something interesting I wanted to show you. Got some junk mail, and this piece here is what I was waiting for. What it is ID to prove the blindness that I have. Now, I've heard many stories about people getting kicked out of restaurants, hotels, swimming pools, stores, bakeries, all types of establishments. And I remembered when I first became blind, I was thinking about going to a training center. I am on the fence about getting a guide dog. I have read numerous articles of various blind people booted off of airplanes and buses, getting kicked out of cookie shops, candy shops, hotels, restaurants, swimming pools, cafes, movie theaters, and the list goes on and on and on. I can understand the people that are embarrassed by getting kicked out. Some of those scenes can get ugly. Then you have the discrimination because you don't look blind, so you're faking. I go through it a lot, being accused of faking blindness because I don't look blind, I'm told, and I can blink my eyes and I can turn them and all kinds of nonsense. So what did people think? We're zombies? We're people. We're human. That's why I'm doing this video. I understand the plight, and I don't think we deserve to be thrown out in the middle of the night. The store was having a sale on computers. I get a ride, go into the store, and I look around. I find a computer that I liked. It was brown and cream. It was really nice. I pick that up. I get a carrying case for it, some wipes for the screen, and I forgot there was some other accessories. And I go to the register. The young man's already, so he rings it up at regular price. So I said, wait a minute. There's supposed to be a discount for seniors, disabled, and students. Oh, well, you're neither of those. And I was like, how do you know? You didn't look at my ID. He's like, well, can I see some ID? I did have a student ID and things like that. He's like, well, I need more than an ID card for a student. And then he just throws his hands up in the air and he walks away. So my spouse jumps in, goes over, speaks to the guy, and the guy comes back and he's talking to me. And I looked up at him and he said something. So even though he was over here and walked over there, I'm still looking over here. He's like, well, she can see. My spouse jumps in. She's blind. That qualifies her for disability. And he's like, I guess so. I don't know. Truly, he didn't want to be there, or he didn't like his job. He said something else. And he walked over here. He's still talking. I'm still looking this way to my left. And he had walked to my right. But he was walking back and forth behind the counter. So he said something to me, and I looked up and I answered him. So he's like, she can see, because she just looked at me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that doesn't matter. I hear you. My ears can hear. Just because I'm blind doesn't mean they don't work. So I heard you. I wanted to answer. So I looked up and answered. I come from a home where my parents were very strict. They're military. They were strict. So if you're speaking to my mother, or she's speaking to you and you're looking up in the sky, I'm looking up in the sky, or I'm looking to the right, she's looking at my ear, I'm not giving her the respect. So guess what? She'll knock your butt down in the floor. That's the kind of home I came from. When people are speaking to you, you give them respect. So if you have a problem with that, you're in the wrong job. He got mad, bent out of shape, and walked off. First, I stood there for like 15 minutes. He didn't come back. He left the computer on the counter, and that stuff is supposed to be locked up because I could just pick it up and run out the door. I pick up what I want. I go over to another cash register. And the lady's like, "Can I help you?" I say, "Yeah, I need to speak to a store manager." She's like, "Okay, I'll get one." No one ever took the computer from me, nothing. I'm standing there waiting. The manager finally comes out.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
I tell him what happened. He said, "Did you see him?" I said, "No, I heard him. I can identify his voice, but he walked off that way." And I'm pointing to my right because I'd walked way to the left to a different register. I told him, "This is what I want to purchase." And I handed it to the manager, and the manager said something. I said, "If my memory serves me right, when I could see, I remember you're not supposed to give potential buyers the products because that's why you keep them in a cage, right?" Well, he walked off and left this stuff on the counter, so I picked it up. "Oh, thank you, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. I gotta speak to this young man." I told him the whole story. I said what he said to me and how he said I can see because I looked up when he was talking to me. He gave me a discount, cashed me out, and that was the end of it. I went on my way. One day, my coordinator of services for the blind called me, and I told him about my mishap trying to get this computer and blah, blah, blah. I said, "I think I'm gonna have this problem going forward because I don't look blind. My eyes look the same, and if I look at people, they swear I can see." And I gave him the whole spiel. I said, "Is there any way I can prove my blindness?" He said, "Call this number I'm going to give you, and they'll give you the instructions." I said, "Good." So when I hung up with him, I called them. They gave me instructions. What they required was eye records and some other doctor forms pertaining to the eyes only. Luckily, I had a doctor's appointment coming up. After my appointment, I got all my forms and records. Then as I left the office, I stopped at a Kinko's, made copies of everything so I can take it down to the agency. I go to the agency, give them paperwork, and that was the end of it. Weeks later, I got a card in the mail. It was lightly laminated, so it crinkled easily. It's not like a hard lamination that maybe your driver's license may have, or a credit card, or maybe a library card. You know, the stiff cards, it wasn't like that. It was like real soft. Just recently, maybe a couple months ago, it got frayed. It started busting open. It's a little larger than the credit cards that go in your wallet slot. Actually, you'll have to take one of the sides of the lamination and fold it so it can fit in a card slot. It's like a little paper card that comes in there, and they laminate both sides. So that got pretty tattered. And since I do need it and have to pull it out from time to time, I said, let me get another one. And that's what just came in the mail. So I put it here. I opened it to make sure that's what it was. And all it is a letter. It comes on the paper. And then on the paper, they have your card glued to the bottom. I'm not going to show my card or the letter because this is the internet. But you get a card, see it's bendable. But that's what I've been using for years. And on the letter, it just tells you information like blah, blah, blah is blind. It gives you a status according to the law. It states the law for your state. And the card has your name, your ID numbers and stuff they give for you. And basically that's it. It's a one-page short letter. It's not written all the way down. It's just a couple of lines of verbiage stating the law that declares you blind. If you fit the category for that state, and each state is different, or they handle blindness differently, that's the law that will be on your letter. and then your card, you can peel it off, stick it in your wallet, and then when you need to prove that you are blind, you just pull that out. You don't have to go into your history, whatever your case may be. You don't have to go into that. You just show them your card and that's it. They shouldn't give you any problem, but if they do, you can just call the police and handle it that way because you have evidence. Now on the flip side, when you don't have evidence or anything, they're not going to believe you, especially if you have a guide dog. They'll just treat you like you're someone trying to walk your animal. Sometimes they get upset, even if your dog is sitting under the chair, minding its business. Oh, you can't have pets in here. And the people will say, look, that's not a pet. That's a working animal. It has a vest on. Don't you see the vest? Oh, yeah, but I don't believe it. You can buy those anyway and stick them on your pet. You know you're sticking food under the table to feed it. To avoid the chaos, I figured since I got my card, let me bring this information to anyone that may not know about it or doesn't have a card. So what I did was I got mine from the Commission for the Blind. There is a Commission for the Blind in every state in the United States. I don't know what they do in foreign countries, but if you need one, you can just call your Commission for the Blind. Now, every state may not have it as Commission for the Blind. It could be Children and Family Services. It could be anything that the state names it. So you have to find out what your state calls it. Most of them have commissions for the blind. And you just call them up. You tell them you want a blind ID card or some type of card that proves blindness. I think Mississippi is the only one that calls it a blind ID card. If you mention blind ID card to Commission for the Blind, they should know what you're talking about. If you need something quicker or you're not going to the doctor, you don't have any eye records, you can always get a letter from your ophthalmologist or optometrist proving your blindness, and then you can send that in to the Commission for the Blind. But any way you cut it, you will need proof of your blindness or eye condition. I did have a list of commissions for the blind for every state, which I have posted on Facebook many times, maybe over a year ago. So I don't know if I still have it, but I will look for it and put it in the description box if I still have it. If you want to get a blind ID card or some type of proof that you are blind, you may want to follow that route and get a card from the Commission for the Blind. I have had to pull out my card numerous times and thought I would never need it, which is why it got tattered. If you would like to do yourself a favor and get a blind ID card or some type of blindness identification, get a letter from your optometrist, ophthalmologist, or your eye doctor. Make copies so you keep copies for yourself. Those are records you need to keep on hand. This will prove your blindness. Whether you're in the hotel and they want to kick you out, you can pop out your card. Hey, I am blind. This is not a pet. If you're in a restaurant, learn your ADA laws. You can even make copies. I've had my coordinator make copies to hand out when I was first learning. I had to show my card a couple of times for public transportation that was arranged by an agency, and it just comes in handy all around. I suggest anyone who doesn't have one to get one, especially if you are using a service animal. That's all I have for you today. I thank you for joining me for this video. If you have found value in this video, go ahead and subscribe, give it a big thumbs up, make a comment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Rolling credits appear in big bold text scrolling upward from the bottom of the screen. Text reads, Anita, hostess/visionary, Mountain Stream Video, TM symbol, videographer/editor. The rest of the text may be read in the description box below. Thanks for watching.